Skate with a period. Skate 2025. EA, Skate's back. That's what you gotta know. EA brought Skate back this year, and it's dying. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Big Chetty, and today we've got some very strange gaming news. So if you're like me, if you grew up in the early 2000s, I like to mention a lot of my videos because it was a weird time. I like to joke and have fun about it. You were a part of the sort of skating X Games punk rock sort of era, the Blink-182, the Tony Hawk games. If you grew up in that time period, you played the Tony Hawk games, you loved them. And if you played the Tony Hawk games, there's a good chance when you got a little bit older and you got your own console that you played a little game called Skate made by EA. Now, I'm sure most people have heard of Skate before, but if you haven't, it was Skate 1, 2, and 3, a series of games that came out in the early to mid-2010s that were made by EA, and they sort of continued the legacy, or I guess you could say carried the torch, or took up the mantle of the Tony Hawk games, and they kind of fell off into obscurity. Skate was an extremely successful game for EA. It was right around the time when EA was kind of just hitting banger after banger in pretty much every genre they touched. That's when Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 were out. Point being, after all this rambling, is that Skate was a very successful game. It meant a lot to people in the community. Lots of people played it. It's a very chill game, a very relaxed game. But it offered something a little bit different than Tony Hawk games. It was, I'd say, more grounded and serious. Just in terms of their physics engine and how they handle things, it was a little less arcadey and more, I say realistic, but I say more grounded. I mean, there's tons of unrealistic stuff where you're, ripping down massive sewer pipes and a skateboard, and you're flying, T-posing, Jesus style, and smashing into things and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it had a more realistic feel to it, a more gritty feel to it, and that was kind of on trend for the late 2000s, early 2010s. After Skate 3, that was kind of it. There was rumors of something coming out, or a remake of some sorts, and after a lot of talk and a lot of secrecy, we finally got Skate, which I think came out earlier this year. That was a couple months ago. Skate with a period.
Skate with a period, sir?
Yes! EA brought Skate back this year. It's some sort of reboot, not a remaster, or a reimagining of the series, and it's dying. And I'm a little concerned about what's going on. Peak players on Steam charts was 134K, which is pretty good for free-to-play early access. And as of November 3rd, as of recording this video, they're down to 14.5K. Sorry, a little burp there. Now, give or take that there's going to be some more or less numbers on PlayStation and Xbox consoles, but it's probably close to around that. I imagine there is more people on PC than there is playing on console, but it's going to be roughly the same. The early access game has had mixed reviews on Steam for a little bit now, and it's pretty obvious why that is. The game just isn't quite there yet. I played it for about a day or two, just on and off, just hanging out with my buddies, but there really wasn't much to see or do. It really feels like an empty shell compared to what previous Skates have felt like.
Having trouble with the ladies?
Oh my god, would you leave me alone?
Or men?
Loser!
Hey!
You can call me Coach Frank, the best skateboard coach money can buy.
On top of that, I feel like the game's just kind of ugly. The game does not look very good. My lovely editors and Therios mentioned that he's not a big fan of the art style. I would agree with that, but I would just say the game's just not that good looking in general. The little city island thing you're playing on kind of feels like something you'd make in just Unreal Engine 5 and just like a little sandbox to run around in. Doesn't really feel like a lived-in city. Does it have to? No, but like there's a lot missing from the game. It does not feel right. So again, it is early access, and I do have to give it the benefit of the doubt. But the game clearly is not ready yet for whatever they have in mind. But really what's got me all riled up is that my editors in Therios made a couple posts on the Reddit, on the Skate page, and a little jest, if you will, a little light criticism, which is important for anyone to take, regardless of a game company, movie director, or silly Canadian streamer. You need to take criticism. And unfortunately for Skate and whoever's really in charge of the team there, they're removing posts that are criticizing the game. And that is a big concern. When you remove posts, especially light jests or criticisms or anything that's really just like, hey, maybe we should change this, or haha, isn't it funny this happens? Anything along those lines, you're not protecting the game. You are absolutely making it look worse. And I feel like you'd think by now, with video games and just really with how long we've had social media as a society, you'd think people would be really good at this PR stuff, but they're not, because I'd argue like taking the lumps like that, taking those jokes, taking those jests, taking them appropriately is kind of like a schoolyard level skill. As someone who got picked on a lot in school for being a tubby kid, like sometimes you got to take those and use it. You got to take those jokes, you got to take that humor, and you got to use it. Now, mind you, I'm not in charge of a multi-million-dollar gaming company, but there is something really strange going on here. Now, EA has also recently been acquired by a private entity. I believe it was a Saudi Arabian company, so this may also have something to do with that as well, in my opinion. There's not a lot of clarity on what's going on, but my main point would be that removing those posts is kind of sus, and on top of that, the game might be in a lot of trouble. To lose that amount of players, to be removing posts, and to really not have that much community interest means I don't really know where they're going to go with it. I wouldn't be surprised if this whole project gets canceled. The only thing that makes me think this game will still get released in some sort of fashion is that it will stay free to play, and they're going to turn it into some sort of Skate online free-to-play battle pass drip feed content. I mean, they've already got there was already a roadmap planned for like season 1, season 2, and I gotta be honest, I don't really know what you can add to a game like Skate that will keep me coming back for season 1 and season 2 and keep me playing. Like, what's the challenge? I have to do 300 ollies and then a grind off Granny's ice cream shop to earn some battle pass tokens. Like, I don't know if that style of game works with that drip feed multiplayer battle pass sort of game that we're all familiar with. And look, criticize those games all you want, because yeah, it's super true that, like, you know, Fortnite, Call of Duty, they've all sort of adopted that sort of style of drip feeding and monetization. I just don't think that works for Skate. But because EA is owned by that private entity now, they can kind of make decisions based on whatever the hell they feel like, whenever the hell they want, and that may be where they're headed. It's very on trend to make games like that. That is how a lot of games make their money now. We'll just call it the Fortnite way, call it the whatever. But does that really belong in Skate? I'm going to say no. I don't think so. And there's no way, in my opinion, that this is ever going to hold up to the original or originals. I think Skate 3 was the best one. I could be wrong about that, but I don't really remember. So my main point from this whole video would be that I don't know what's going to happen to Skate. They're removing posts. It's very sus. And if this game does actually come out, it probably will be a drip feed Fortnite battle pass looking multiplayer game, which I don't think that's going to end very well. Don't be surprised if this game gets canceled, though. Do not be surprised, one, if it gets canceled, or two, if it just completely crashes and burns. And it's so unfortunate. It's so sad, because Skate, I think, is so important for a lot of people. Is it my favorite game of all time? No, but I do have even someone that doesn't really like sports games or sports in general, for being a heavy boy. Skate, Tony Hawk, all those like Pro Skater, X Games sort of video games are so important to so many of us, including me. The soundtrack, the graphics, Skate was one of those games that felt like a next-gen experience on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but growing up with the PlayStation 2 and GameCube, and then jumping to the PlayStation 3 with Skate was like that. It just graphically, it was an impressive game. It was so new, it was so fresh. That city felt very lived in, even though like now if I go back, it probably isn't, but that city in the new Skate with a period should not feel lesser than the city of the old one. The sandbox doesn't feel as good. Like, that's just not it. I mean, most of my game time was spent playing the Thrasher mode, where we would just see how bad we could break each other's bones. That's me and my buddy would sit in his basement for hours on end. Just be like, all right, dude, I'm going to do a freaking ollie, then a nosedive off the freaking half pipe, dude. We're going to rip on down, and then I'm going to crash my neck into this, see how many bones I can break, and then just flop around like a fish and see how many bones you could break. Like, it was just so much fun. It was so silly. Thrasher points. It was definitely a different time. It was a part of a time when skater culture and skater dudes were super cool, but I think Skate is just such a chill game. It's a good game to, you know, sit down, have a beer with, or maybe have some extracurricular activities with, and just sit down, put on some music, and hang out. It was such a chill game. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. I think a lot of people would say that, yeah, that was their chill. It was the game to just come home from a long day of school and just veg out, man, and just chill. And if the new Skate isn't cool to hang out in, why would I play it for the Battle Pass? Anyways, guys, that's my time for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give me a like. Talk about it. What do you think about the post being removed? Like, that can't be good, right? Anyways, I'm going to stop yapping. Thank you so much for your time. The Battlefield 6 review is coming out very soon. I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think. Bye, guys.